Right, let's try it again, people. I mean, just that sums up my entire day, doesn't. Now we have streams going down because now YouTube, not even YouTube can flip and function at the moment. So we're going to try again with the player ratings, people. And as you can see, we've got the new system over there. So we're going to try and get through this, which is going to be, yeah, tough, to be honest. But yeah, we're going to try to go through this. Basically, you can see over there, we've got some of the stats that some of the players have got. And we're going to try and give them a rating between 1 and 10. 10 obviously being very good, which I don't think any of these players are going to get, and 1 being very, very poor. Usually we go with an average 5 is kind of the way we usually go with things. So very interested to sort of see what our beta testers have gone with. And yeah, it's not. I don't think it's gonna be pretty, to be perfectly honest. And I got to try to ask you, what do we think was our best player? You know, was their best player? So I'm going to try and put out a poll in terms of the Springbok. The Springbok man of the match. Now, the only players who I think can go into this are Andre Esterhuizen. I thought Sia Khaleesi was actually very good. Maybe Grant Williams. I don't know. If there's anybody else you think you can actually put into a poll for the best South African player? We don't really do an overall thing. We kind of just stick it to mostly South African. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll see some people finding a bit of hope in what we saw today, because I don't think there was a lot for me to be able to get excited about in the next couple of days, because I think it's just going to be brutally awful, and it should be, to be honest. It should be, because the reality is we were really, really poor today. And if we don't step up and if we don't find ways of bettering ourselves within a week, we're going to get hammered again next week. And again, the problem is you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So you don't want to suddenly go with the fact that we're outplayed, we had a bad game, therefore we got to move completely away from what we're doing. Because some of the stuff we were doing was very good. I mean, if we did score 3 unanswered tries in 20 minutes. So you look at that and you think, well, there we go. You know, it works. The way we're playing is right, and the way we're playing is good. But then we see the next 10 minutes, well, next 60 minutes, and it was awful. I'm just making sure that we're ready for our press conference over here. Apologies, people. This is unfortunately the reality of being a bit of a small team. We're not quite a broadcaster with many different individuals to help out. So I'm almost done with a second, and then we can really get into this. Apologies for those people. As you can see, technology has just not been particularly kind to us. And as a result, just having to sort all of this out. But we are looking like it is ready to go. And we're going to have a very grumpy Rassie Erasmus, will be my bet, once he gets to that press conference. Because goodness me, we'll be bad today. I was trying to work out when we last played that badly. And I genuinely think go back to Wellington. You know, Wellington when we got dismantled by the All Blacks, and I think that's the last time I remember us playing this badly. I can't remember us playing that badly since then. We've been such a good run with Rassie Erasmus. We've been so consistent usually, but what we saw today was awful, absolutely awful. And it needs to get a lot better. We've got to find a way of improving it, because it's just not good enough at the end of the day. Did anybody give me some man of the match nominations? We didn't really. I mean, does anybody really deserve it? Mara says Edel wasn't bad in the first half. Yeah, I don't think he was terrible either. No, so I've got those two. I've got Andre Esterhuizen, Sia Khaleesi, Grant Williams as our Springbok man of the match. That's kind of where I'm at. Let's go through the rating, shall we? Oxen Chair. Well, unfortunately for Oxen Chair, he scrummed all right, but he also was very responsible for one of the big tries. And I think that's going to be an interesting sort of review. Because I think that we look at that first try and he just made the wrong decision. So unfortunately, I think it's probably going to be a rare for me 5 from Oxen Chair. So I'm going to go with 5. The average fan rate was 6.5. So I've gone a little bit lower. Maybe I'm being harsh, but I think that I probably had more of a 6, to be honest. And then I think I have to knock one down, unfortunately, for that try. That it was you can't defend like that. You can't make that mistake because literally we made that mistake and we conceded a try. Individual errors were what really killed us today. And yeah, not good enough at the end of the day. So I'm going to give Oxenchair a 6.5. Malcolm Marks wasn't bad, but the lineouts weren't good enough. That's also a big problem. And was it completely his fault? But maybe not. But it wasn't really good enough at the end of the day, and we've got to be a lot better than that. So I'll probably give Malcolm a 6. Thought that his lineouts are going to bring him down, so I seem to be about 0.5 back from the average sort of user rating. Wilco Low was good in the scrums, probably one of the better players for me, to be honest. And I think that he didn't damage his Bocce reputation today. I think a lot of players maybe did, but I thought that he was a lot better than the people around it. So I'll probably give him a 7. I think he was one of the better players. So interestingly, it's the first time I've got more than what the average fans rating has been. But I thought that he was all right. I thought he scrummed particularly well. And that was one of the only things that really went well. So it's going to be interesting to sort of see how that all plays out next week with regards to team selection. Are we going to bring in... I think we'll bring in lots of experience next week. I think, we'll bring in like a Vincent Koch, I think will potentially start. I think that we'll see... I think Wilco Low will start, but I wouldn't be surprised if we draft Thomas Toy back into the mix after today and sit there saying, well, we cheap as we need him. We've got to find somebody who's going to step up. Because, look, Bonefenter was all right today, but, something like a Thomas Toy would have been a good, calm head in that. Not that Thomas Toy has actually been phenomenal so far this season, but so lots of comments coming through. I'll get to some of the comments and we'll see what everybody has to say about everything. A lot of very upset Bok fans, which is fair, which is very, very fair because we were absolutely atrocious. And I think it's going to be a long week next week. I'll be interested to see where we name our team. I think we might name our team a bit later. We often do. When things don't go to plan, we kind of maybe delay things a little bit. So I think we might not see a team announcement on Monday. I think we might see it on probably Tuesday, but maybe even a Wednesday naming. Could be kind of the case. Because we need to have a look at what went wrong, and we need to kind of decide how do we fix it. So anyway, back to the ratings. 7 for Wilco Low. Eben, I'm going to go with a 7 as well. I thought he was actually quite good. I thought he was very industrious. So yeah, the average fans rating 7.5. Have been kind of a half behind most of them. Except for Wilco Low, so I was basically a full 1. Lord Diogo I thought was very good. I thought Lord Diogo actually probably could have been one of my man in the match ones because I thought he had a very good game. So I'm actually probably going to give him an 8. See, the average... we're very off from my better testing group, but I thought Lord Diogo, I don't think he missed a tackle. Slick handling. So I'm surprised at that. That one, and this is why I can't wait to have all you guys adding into it because it's going to be interesting to sort of see how we all differ. And I think that because often we're quite aligned, because we're all good rugby fans. We all know what's going on here, but in this case, I'm seem to be quite off from the beta testing group, and that's why you got to add more people to this. We've got to add more voices because I can't be like 1.5 off from you guys all the time. It makes me feel like I don't know what I'm saying. So Lord Diogo, I'll give an 8. I thought he was very good. Maybe I'm wrong, but Powerbite says massive comeback for Lurt after his heart condition. So he's saying he was good. Anybody else talking about Lord Diogo? I thought he was very good, but maybe that's obviously just me. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys also thought he was pretty good. Because I quite enjoyed his game, and I thought he was one of the few who I don't think... when you talk about do the review about why we lost, I don't think you can really point fingers at him. So he was one of our better players. And... but yeah, this is why we do this over here. So everybody gets to have an opportunity to have a say. So I gave Lloyd an 8. Marco Starden I thought was pretty good as well. Maybe not as... I thought again, I'm probably going to give him a 7. I thought it was one of his better games actually in a Bok jersey. Carried well. I've gone a bit better there. Peter Steph the Toy had some good moments, but I don't think it was the Peter Steph the Toy we're used to. So I'm probably going to give him a 6. Fans have gone 7. Sia Khaleesi I thought was very good. Very, very good. I'm going to give him maybe a 7. Maybe a 7 is probably a bit fair. Let me actually stop being too overly generous over here with 8s, considering the fact that we did just get pumped. Grant Williams was all right, but I think sometimes he needs to be a bit slow. I think I get and he's the kind of player, he really ups the ante. He tries to, quicken up the pace of play and the likes of that, but it's not really good enough in all honesty. And I think that we've got to sometimes observe what's in front of you. And as a Grant Williams, sometimes just calm things down and maybe drop us down a gear or two when things aren't going well. So I'll probably give him a 7. I think he was all right. My Liebach, I mean, talk about going from hero to zero so quickly. I think he was so strong in that first half. Basically had a part to play in almost every single one of the first tries, and then missed that big tackle, threw the intercept pass. So probably an overall 5. Yeah, I've gone a bit harsher. I thought Kurt Lawrence probably had one of his worst games in a Bok jersey, sadly for him. So I'm probably going to give him a 4. I've gone quite harsh there, but I just didn't think he was good. I don't think he did much good, and made some big mistakes, which did cost us tries, unfortunately. So yeah, maybe it seems a bit harsh, but that's kind of where I am. So that means some of the fans are giving him a 6, but I thought he was generally pretty bad. If we go for Andre Estes, I thought he was very good. I'm going to give him an 8. I thought he tried hard throughout. I mean, who's giving him a 6? We've got to change our beta testers. Andre Estes, and I don't think did really put a step wrong. Well, maybe that towards the end, dropped that ball, but he probably should have. But he was just trying to drag us through over the line the entire time. So fair enough to him. And Jesse Creel also, from a hero to zero perspective, thought had such a strong game, and then kind of just went AWOL. So I'm going to give him a 5, slightly below. I can't wait for you guys to be able to do this, by the way. Because can we just talk about, do you guys like the look and feel of this? Let's just maybe pause things at the moment. Let me not get too bogged down and depressed about how bad we were. What do you guys think of the system you're seeing here? Is this something that's going to excite you a little bit? Are we keen to see what this is going to look like? Because we built the system for you guys. You guys were the reason that we built the system. It's to be able to get you guys more involved in what we do and the player ratings and. So this was a big thing for us to try and build. So I want to know, are you guys enjoying what you're seeing? Let's just stop the chat about how bad the box were for a second. I need to find a headphone thing, yeah. And let me know if you like the look of the system. Give me 2 seconds. Found it. We're good. And we're still waiting for Rusty. This is taking a very long. You usually don't wait this long for the press conference to come through. But let's go some of the comments in the meantime before I get back to the player ratings and speak about what we are going to be in for. Because I think we're going to be in for Rusty Erasmus being very, very miffed. So Ethan's saying, do you think the Springboks are going to drop to number 2? We do drop to number 2. And that's already done. So that's now the only thing is we're not sure who's going to replace us because we have to wait to see what happens in the next game, being the New Zealand game this evening. So depending on what happens to that, then we'll kind of have an idea of, because we can actually drop down to 3. We probably will drop down to 3 at this rate. If the All Blacks win later, then I think we drop down to 3. And it's funny, I did the ratings. I don't think anybody sat there probably watching my video thinking at any stage that we were possibly going to drop to that low. So it's going to be interesting to see now what the reaction is going to be. So nobody's actually talking about my system yet, people. I want to know what you guys think. Do we like it? No one's asked. No one's replying to me. Villy says, mate, surely Creel deserves a 7 or 8. He held well, but struggled against Suoli and in 1v1 points. Yeah, maybe it's a bit harsh, but I just think in the second half, he kind of was a bit nowhere. I mean, the first half, he was so good. And it's so difficult to kind of, I don't know, remember, that whole recency bias thing, that you kind of, you've now watched it. And what you remember recently is the bad versus the good. And he was so good for that first half. But in the second half, I just felt he didn't quite do the Jesse Creel things that we usually have. Edel van der Merwe. I thought Edel van der Merwe was good, actually. I would actually start Cheslin Colby and Edel van der Merwe next week, to be honest. I thought Edel had a strong game. Didn't get as many opportunities as he wanted, but he rescued us on more than one occasion. I think twice, actually. He carried well, so I'm happy to give him a 7. I thought he was pretty good. Fans rating were 5. We're sacking the beta testing group. We're sacking them. They're all sacked. Get out. Get out. You can't be giving Edville 5s or lower than 5s. Like, that is awful. Absolutely awful. I cannot believe that. Ah, hang on. Yeah, I mean, what would you guys give Edville? Let me ask that question. Maybe that's a better question to ask. What would you guys give Edville? Because I think that 5 is incredibly harsh. But maybe you guys agree. Maybe I'm just being far too generous with what Edville's did. But I thought he was solid. I thought he played quite well. So let's go to the chat here. AJA said Edville played poorly. He just wanted to run. I mean, he's a wing. It's kind of what you do. I don't really know what you want to him. AJA said Kirkley Orange saved us a lot. See, I'll completely disagree with that. He saved us once, I think. Kirkley Orange was probably responsible for 2 tries. In all honesty. So yeah, I'll disagree with that assessment. But you're allowed to have opinions. Right, our press conference is about to start. I'm very curious to see what Rusty has to say. We'll have this up for you guys very quickly so you guys can go do it. Connor with a super chat saying, USAFers deserve this karma for how many times you're going on and on about the World Cup wins. There's way more to rugby than you guys. Well, there's World Cups, for example, which we win quite often. There's rugby championships, for example, which we also won last year. And so yeah, I mean, as long as we're out here to try and see how bad everything was, by all means. Weird comment, but I appreciate the super chat. So I'm not going to complain because we'll take the super chat. I enjoy that part of it. So appreciate your work there, people. Right. So I'm going to tell you exactly what he said, right, as he responds, says Rassi Erasmus. How is that for an opening statement? Rusty says, yeah, to be honest with you, it's one of the most embarrassing press conferences I've ever had to do. So it's going to be an absolute perler. And we're going to have that up for you guys immediately afterwards. We're actually going to send you to the press conference when it's done. Mars Van Heerden says it was very bad, dude. Sia says the individual performances weren't the worst, but collectively it was awesome. Interesting point, actually. JP saying we never gassed out Baby Boy. Individual like Willemse cost us heavily. Look, I mean, Willemse came on and we were basically almost losing. I don't think he played well, but it was brewing about more than just, I think, a Damien Willemse, in all honesty. So I get what your point, though. He wasn't good. It's called a spade a spade. He wasn't good. I thought Apelele Fassi, not a bad game from Apelele Fassi. Very important in the first half, but I don't think it was his best game. I'm kind of sitting at about 6. An average 6 is usually where I'm at. So I got more than the average fan rating. Bongi, minus on the Merva, bring him in. Yeah, fans are going with a 4. Maybe I've been quite generous over there. Fans are going with a 4. Bring in minus from the Merva. I'm not impressed with what I'm seeing with Bongi Manambi at the moment, and unfortunately, yeah, we've got to make a big call because we can't have that again. Jono said, Aussie here, just wanted to say you blokes looked unstoppable in that first half. Credit to you. Second half, we just woke up and played like the third lines test. Still think you are number 1 with tweaks. My man coming in here with some sanity. Shout out. Bone Fenter, I thought was all right when he came on. Didn't really mean much to the game. So 3, jeepers. Who was nailing Bone Fenter with a 3? Our beta testers are having a flipping field day in the background here. Asanate and Klabakanya also didn't get much to do. Probably a 5. players going with 4.5. Yeah, I didn't have much opportunity, to be honest. I mean, the scrums were alright, but I think they only had one scrum. I think two scrums when they came on, which is also a problem. We need more scrums, don't we? Franco Moster I thought was alright, but maybe not quite the impact. He's a better starter, is Franco, to be honest. Be interested to see what the lock combination is going to look like tomorrow. Francois, you can't vote, unfortunately, this week. It's currently in beta testing, so we will be able to hopefully give you guys the rights. I'm hoping next week we'll be able to allow you guys to do this, but we don't want to launch a platform that's not quite ready for launch, and that's what we're very worried and nervous to do. So yeah, unfortunately you can't vote this week, but we're just kind of sort of showing you what the system's going to look like, and even if you look at this now and you see a bit of feedback, if you let me know. I thought Quacker Smith was actually reasonably good. I thought he tried easy. I didn't remember didn't quite get any breakdowns, but he was all right when he came on. Villy says, to be honest, Old Man Joe's record against you lot is a masterclass, so I wasn't expecting the goal to win, but I expected to close the game. Joe's been a blessing to your young guns and squad. Yeah, look, I mean, Joe Strimmett's absolute masterclass, and credit to him because he's a phenomenal coach. Pan says, Australia being strong can only be good for rugby and the rugby championship. Well, first of all, big shout out. Thank you for the super chat. I think you're actually 100% right, in fairness. You know, I think that Australian side will give the All Blacks a test. You know, I don't think we played well, but I don't think that's, I don't think we're an easy team to beat. And I think that we need to be very aware that I think that the teams are getting closer, which I think it's a very good point to make. You know, we were so built up, we're so focused right now on how bad the Boks were that, I think that we're not giving credit how good the Wallabies were. And I think the frustration is that we should have put them to bed and we didn't. But there's definitely reason for Wallabies fans to be very excited. And if you're neutral, I think we're in for a great rugby championship. I really do. Kobus Reinach. Yeah. Again, not much. 5, 3. Yeah, people are going in on Kobus Reinach. That's going to be interesting to see when you guys do it all together. Kaylee Moody, again, probably an average 6. And Damian Willems, you see, this is what I mean by the system just needs to slightly adjust. I'm going to give him a 6. Fans rate. I actually want to give him a 6. I wanted to give him a 3. I rushed that one. Fans rating of a 1. You guys are going to be so brutal when this comes out to you guys in market, aren't you? What I got to do though is I got to vote for man of the match, and I'm going to go give it to Andre Esterhuis, and I thought he was really good today. So he's my man of the match. And if you go to now the fan ratings, this is what's going to be quite cool to see. This is what the rating distribution is. So there were 6 7s, for example, only 2 8s. And you can also then see what the top performers are. So the top ratings, interestingly, from the fans was Evan Etzebeth 7.5, Siak Lisi 7.5, PSF the Toy 7, Oxen Chair, Malcolm Marks. I think Andre Esterhuis has got to be in among there. That is the combined rankings. You can see it's just got to sort a few of the tweaks out. And someone decided to take the piss and vote Damian Willems as man of the match. So I need to replace my beta testers. But that is basically the platform. And I'm really looking forward to being able to show it to you guys later, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun when we all do this. But let's go into some of the comments, shall we? Stuart says, hey, mate, Aussie here. Don't think the boys were bad, but the Wallabies showed some confidence to throw the ball around for a change, like the third Lions test. Yeah, well, it's well, Rusty has dropped an absolute perler as I'm listening. And you guys are going to enjoy this press conference. Goodness me. We are going to have an absolute time when this comes out, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Ganji says the app looks dope. Ethan says, do you think if we win the next game, we'll be back up on back? Get up on back, or get one back, basically. I think back is what you're probably trying to say. Yeah, I think, you're going to win something and lose some. And as a lot of people say, this is going to be a lesson, a big lesson for us. So the big thing is for us to learn from it and to get better. And this is going to be, for me, the big thing. It's about the response we see now. How do we respond to this game? Because if we respond and we go and pump Wallabies by 40 points next week, you can sit there saying, actually, cool, there's something here. But Lots of introspective. Tristan says, do you think we are maybe burnt out because of the URC season too long? I don't think you can really use that as an excuse. I mean, the Wallabies have just had to go 3 tests back to back to back against the British and Irish Lions, and they actually had less time than we did, which I think maybe helped them to a certain degree. I think that they were kind of more on it. I think we were a bit sluggish. Well, we can't actually say we were a bit sluggish, but I think we burnt out a bit. And we spoke about the fact that our conditioning maybe isn't quite what it was, and we've got to get back to that. And I think that's a very good point, because we did kind of just drop off, which is not normal for us. We're usually very, very solid in that kind of respect. But Clive David says, Springboks cannot play Tony Brown's attack for 80 minutes yet, and we are not immune from the impact of altitude. Storm says, where is the rugby brain now? Ha, Russie. Again, weird to go after. Like, it's. I always find like mentalities and psyche so interesting. You lose the first game of the year, and now it's, well, where's the big brain, Russie? I mean, this man has won 2 back-to-back World Cups, British and Irish Lions series. He's going to fix this. We're trying this. As you said, he started the press conference by saying it's the most embarrassing press conference he ever had to give. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, I mean, just you wait. Park the comment. The Wealth Mind says, no leadership after Sia came off. That move always questionable to take him off. Well, Sia is a kind of player, and he's spoken about it and stuff. He's one of those that he kind of empties the tank and then they kind of make the replacement. I do agree in terms of the leadership point of view. Interesting to try and fix that, you know. I mean, look, he came off in the World Cup final, for example. He very rarely goes the full 80. He's never been a player who goes the full 80. It's not a case of he's getting older now. He's just never really gone the full 80. That's just kind of the way he's always kind of played. And whether it's the right thing, the wrong thing, you know, it doesn't really matter. But that's the reality, is he's not somebody who often plays the full 80. So you've got to then find out who are the leaders. But the problem is there were leaders on the pitch, because you had an Eben Etzebeth on the pitch. You had PSF Latoya on the pitch. You had Jesse Creel on the pitch. You had Bongi Minami on the pitch. You had, and that is 4 players who have all captained the Springboks on the park in that second half. So it's going to be interesting to sort of see that whole sort of perspective in terms of what the response is going to be, because, as you said, I think it's an interesting point in terms of the lack of leadership when Sia went off, because in theory the players were there to get to have the kind of leadership. But I agree with you. We looked a little bit kind of I wouldn't say deer in headlights, but we kind of looked like we didn't know what to do. People were looking around and nobody really had answers, which is a bit worrying, because this team is so experienced, and we've got to make sure that we've got players who can weather the storm, and players who can step in and get it done, to be honest. And we didn't quite do that in a way that was acceptable. So lots to address, and we're gonna be wrapping up the next few minutes, by the way, and then I'm gonna send you guys straight to what is probably gonna go down as one of the best Rusty Russell's press conferences of all time. Because goodness me, wait till you even see the title of it. Going to some of the comments though, AJS says, Tony Brown is really messing us up. We weren't made for flashy passes and runs. We win through brutal forwards and tactical breaks. I mean, I get what you're trying to say, and I get the sentiment in terms of we've kind of moved away from our DNA to a certain degree. I'll disagree with you in terms of he's messing us up. I think it's about us finding the balance. Because we were some of the stuff we had was phenomenal. You know, we were really good at a certain stage. What we've got to find, and what we had to find last year, is that balance, you know, and finding out when to play like Tony Brown style, for example, and when to go back to kind of what we're good at, you know, the very confrontational, simple, dominant kind of rugby. It's finding those balances between the two, and once you find that, then we kind of start to cook. But I think today, for example, we burned ourselves out, and we almost try to overplay, and that's a big thing that we're going to have to try and cope with, because we're going to have to try and work out what we want to do, where we want to play, how we want to play, and when things aren't going well, do we have a backup plan, basically? You know, can we switch back to the way we played and kind of go back to, even if it means sometimes going back to what we used to call 10-man rugby and playing just forward-dominated rugby? Because if that's what we have to do to win games, then that's kind of what we have to do. And you've got to embrace that at the end of the day. And sometimes you have to put your hands up and say, maybe we're not quite ready to play the way that they would like us to play. And I think that was kind of maybe the point today, is sometimes we were overplaying it, and sometimes we only went for like 2 early mauls, for example. When have the Boks ever really done that? They've always been a very strong mauling side. So I think next week we will probably see us go back to a much more standard sort of Bok game plan type of thing. So MC Vidizzle says we as fans also need to grow up. We lost. Next week if we win, we will act like we are gods. Very good point. I mean, it sounds boring though to grow up, but again, I think this is what we tonight. We're upset and we're hurt, and we're very passionate fans. Bok fans, we are very passionate. We're hearts on our sleeves, and we don't like losing. And we're not the best losers. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm a terrible loser. 100%. I'm a terrible loser. But we've also got to be measured at times, and how boring is that, trying to be measured, and understand that we're going to have moments like this. So we lost, as you said. Get over it. We've got it. We were loud, and I'll still be loud. I'm a back-to-back world champion. I will be loud. I will be loud whenever I want. We beat the All Blacks twice last year. Twice. Scott Roberts has never beaten us. I will continue to be loud, but I will also admit that we were shit today. And we lost the cricket. Thanks, Zach. But the Lions won. It's about my only saving grace. People, I'm gonna go cry and pull myself towards myself for what is going to be a very interesting game later. We've got Argentina versus New Zealand coming up at 11. So we will be live for that game, and looking forward to sharing that with you, and hopefully we see a great game. Argentina. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Carry me through the evening by giving me a good game to watch. That's all I'm asking. Give me a good game. Give me something to brighten up my day. And then Drickers needs to operate tomorrow. We might even do a Drickers thing, because I'm ready I'm ready to box. Put me in against Kamzat and I'll dust him in the mood I'm in right now. I'll dust him. 1-2, bang, bang. So you guys said that Andre Estes, by the way, was your man of the match, just so we can kind of go through that. And thank you for giving us. Well, it looks like you guys all like the system that we're kind of building in the background. So hopefully that'll be ready to roll out very soon, and then we can all enjoy the system. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, and if you have any suggestions about kind of features maybe as well, put them in the comments. If you watch this retrospectively, email us. And we are going to be also asking for some testers. We're going to be running a bit of competition where you can be one of the first people to test our new system, which is going to be able to do player ratings, team predictions. That's going to be fun, as well as score predictions, and all that in one play with leagues and the whole spiel. So even asking, do you think we'll get the number 1 spot back? Well, it's going to be a big ask now, because we're going to have to beat the All Blacks to do it. But we can do it. We can do it. Drickers should be fighting about 6 a.m. The question is, should we do it? Let me know. Let me know if you guys will be interested in a Drickers stream. I know F all about UFC. So, yeah, it's not going to be a groundbreaking analysis, but we can kind of talk about what's going on, to be honest. And King Pass says, sorry, Stevie, Drickers is going to lose. Kamzat is a Dagestan bear wrestler. He's also much bigger. I don't even like boxing, though. Well, UFC or mixed martial arts. Yeah, look, I'm not a massive... I watch it, but far from an expert. So maybe we'll put a poll on the channel and ask you guys if it's worth a watch along. But again, if we do it, don't expect any masterclass analysis from me. We're going to wrap it up, people. I'm going to send you over to the Rassie Erasmus press conference, and the title of it is "We Were Dog Shit Today." Those are Rassie's words, not my words. So you can go over and enjoy that, because it's a spectacular presser. It's absolutely spectacular. AJ says, I'll watch the Dricker stream. Well, there we go. I'll have one person keeping me company if we do it. So yeah, but people, thank you very much for watching over the course of the evening. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll see you guys a little bit later for the Argentina and All Blacks game. But for now,